Hello, and welcome back to another Marketing Minute on the Pregnancy Health Podcast. My name is Delaney, and I am the manager of Extend Web Services. Today, I want to talk about something that comes up in most conversations I have with pregnancy help organizations, even if it isn't always stated out loud. It's that feeling of, we should probably be doing more, or I feel like we're behind, or the classic, other centers seem way more advanced than we are. If any of that sounds familiar, you're in good company. And I don't just mean because pregnancy help organization people are good company. I mean, you're in good company because you're not alone. There's a lot of people working on building their marketing. Some people are in the beginning of it. Some people are advanced, and some people are having to restart back at ground zero. I really think in 2026, your marketing success is going to be dependent upon your leadership and also the foundations you have moving forward. That's really what I want to dive into today. You could say that marketing maturity is a leadership issue. And by marketing maturity, I mean whether you're just advanced or beginner. Marketing success does not come from finding the perfect platform or chasing the next new thing. It comes from leaders understanding where their organization actually is and leading from that place instead of where they feel like they should be. I see this all the time. Leaders aren't failing at marketing. They're just trying to run before the foundation is in place. And a lot of leadership voices talk about this. They talk about how growth is intentional. Healthy things grow in order. You don't skip steps and expect it to hold. That's really what this episode is about. What beginner versus advanced marketing really looks like as we step into 2026. Let's ground this in reality for a minute. Beginner marketing in 2026 is not bad marketing. It's focused on showing up where people are already searching, clearly explaining what you do and who you serve, and being consistent enough to learn what's working and what isn't. Advanced marketing comes later, in large part because it's built on traction. It layers strategy on top of what's already working. It starts differentiating messages, refining audiences, and making decisions based on patterns instead of gut feelings. And this isn't a jab at gut feelings because sometimes I feel like I am 90% gut feelings. There's just a time and place for it. And part of making discerning decisions is looking at the information you have, like your analytics, and then making the next best choice based on that. Advanced marketing is not a starting point. You don't start advanced. You grow into it. So when I talk about beginner foundations, I'm not talking about marketing tactics yet. I'm talking about leadership clarity. Let's start with foundation number 1. Start with organizational goals, not marketing channels. This is where I think a lot of marketing conversations go sideways really fast. Beginner marketing does not start with channels. It doesn't start with what's our email goal or what should we be doing on social. It starts with your organizational goals. And I'd honestly say maybe choose 2 or 3, not 10. Things like we need to reach more abortion-minded women in that, say, 40% of our overall clients are abortion-minded. Or we need more awareness of our services in the community. So you're trying to show up more at community events and put your name out there. Or we need to increase recurring donors by 20%. So after you have your organizational goals, then you ask how marketing can support those goals. Not all at once, not everywhere, and not in ways your team can't sustain. So maybe the right move right now is monthly emails, not weekly. Maybe it's one solid ad campaign instead of trying to be on 5 platforms. Maybe it's updating the most important pages on your website instead of rebuilding the whole thing. That's not thinking small, that's thinking strategically. Beginner marketing is focused, it's disciplined, and it's realistic. Now, as things grow, this is where advanced marketing starts to show up. You don't change the goals, you deepen your execution. Over time, channel-level goals start to make sense. Data starts to guide decisions instead of gut feelings alone. Segmentation, testing, and optimization become helpful instead of overwhelming. But you don't start there. You start with clear organizational priorities. You choose marketing you can actually handle, and you build consistency first. That's how momentum gets built instead of burned. This leads me to foundation number 2. Clear expectations, then milestones that match your level of marketing growth. Let's talk about milestones. because I want to be really clear about something here. Milestones shouldn't stay vague forever. At the beginning, milestones are intentionally simple. They're about consistency and follow through. Things like emails are going out regularly, ads are live and stable, our messaging is clear enough that people understand what we do. Those are real milestones at the beginner stage because if those aren't happening, nothing else matters. But as marketing matures, as it grows, milestones should grow as well. At advanced levels, milestones get much more specific. Now you might be looking at improving open rates across multiple email segments, increasing engagement from a specific audience, improving efficiency or conversions over time, seeing clear patterns in what messaging resonates. And that's exactly how it should work. Clear expectations set the direction. Milestones evolve as your capacity and clarity grow. The mistake isn't having vague milestones. The mistake is expecting advanced outcomes before the foundations are stable. That's how teams get discouraged instead of developed over time. Now, our final foundation. Foundation number 3, build depth before you add more. This is where those goals, expectations, and milestones we've been talking about really start to matter. Because once you've set clear organizational goals, and once you've communicated expectations and built milestones that actually match where you are, the next leadership decision becomes really important. And that decision is this: are we going to go deeper, or are we going to add more? This is where I really see well-meaning leaders accidentally slow their own progress. Something starts working even a little bit, and the instinct is, great, let's add another channel, or let's try something new, or let's expand. That's not bad. It's just may mean that you're missing something bigger. Mature marketing doesn't grow by piling things on, it grows by building depth. Let me use email marketing as an example because it's an easy one. Beginner email marketing is not fancy. It's sending emails consistently to one audience and proving you can sustain that. That's the milestone. I mean, you could put numbers to it and say, we're going to send this amount of emails every month, but you're primarily sending it to that one audience. Advanced email marketing comes later, and it comes because the foundation is there. So now you're looking at things like improving open rates across multiple segments, differentiating messages by audience, paying attention to patterns over time, not one-off results. This is you diving into analytics. It is you maybe talking to monthly donors versus major donors versus one-time donors. And it's important that you have that progression from building that consistency early on and then slowly building into differentiation, hitting different segments, but knowing that you have a strong foundation underneath it where you consistently show up here in your email marketing. You don't earn complexity by wanting it. You earn it by demonstrating consistency and learning from what's already in motion. And this applies across the board. If ads are supporting your organizational goals, the next step isn't automatically launching more campaigns. It might be refining messaging or improving efficiency. If your website is doing its job, the next step isn't always a rebuild. It might be improving clarity on a key page or targeting the user flow or optimizing your overall copy for search engines or generative engines. Foundation number 3 is really about restraint or discernment, really. It's the discipline to say, this is working, let's understand it better before we expand it. That's how marketing grows without overwhelming teams, blowing budgets, or losing focus. And honestly, that's one of the clearest markers of advanced marketing maturity. The goal isn't more tools or more activity, it's understanding what's actually working. So if you find yourself in the beginning spot, you find yourself thinking, I could be doing more, or look at how much more that other PHO is doing, that's not a bad place to be. You got to recognize that. You got to recognize where you are before you can be intentional about progress. So as you go into 2026, make sure that you know what your organizational goals are. Make sure that you are communicating those properly to your team, to whoever it is that you are working with, that your marketing is supporting those organizational goals. Maybe you have somebody in-house on staff. Maybe you're working with a marketing partner. But make sure you know your goals, and then you are setting clear expectations for how you expect marketing to support those goals. And then as you go through 2026 and you see success with consistency and building over time to those milestones, before you say, okay, well, let's add this now, take a look at what you're already doing and seeing if there's a way that you can get more out of what you're doing in a sustainable way. If you are an advanced marketer in 2026, congratulations, because that takes a lot of work, a lot of consistency. And I would just say the same thing is important. If you have when I say advanced marketing, I mean you are diving into the data, you are on multiple platforms, you are making sure that your organization's goals are being supported by the marketing efforts, then I would just take some time at the beginning of 2026 to make sure that all that is happening and still happening. It's good to do a refresher from time to time. I would take stock of those organizational goals, make sure you are still in alignment with them. I would make sure that you have a good understanding of what you're currently doing. And then see whether it's, again, a conversation in-house or with an external marketing partner. What could you do in 2026 to build upon the growth that you saw in 2025? If you saw a lag somewhere, again, take the time to have that conversation. Marketing might look different at every stage, but leadership doesn't change with the stage. Leaders set direction, define what success looks like, and decide when it's time to go deeper instead of wider. And when that expertise isn't in-house, wise leaders seek partners who understand both the mission and the moment the organization is in. I am hoping and believing for some great marketing success for you and your organizations in 2026. Thanks for listening.